I was boarding a plane recently and I was standing in line, and then there is this lady. She comes out of nowhere and cuts in line right in front of me. And I was offended by her actions. I felt that my personal space was invaded. She did not respect me, she did not respect my time. And, I was judgmental towards her. It's like, how can you behave like this? You should respect other people. We're all standing in a line, so please mind your, like be be respectful towards other people. And lately I was reflecting, why was I offended by this situation? And I think it's because of my expectations. It's me who expects proper manners from other people, that they would be respectful, that they would, you know, know the basis of moral values in such occasions like boarding a plane. But it's my expectations that actually cause me to feel hurt in this case. Because people come from different backgrounds and we all have different moral values. We have different upbringing. And what's normal in one culture may be completely inappropriate in another culture. And therefore, people behave differently. I expected her to behave in a particular way. And when my expectations did not meet reality, I started to feel offense and anger. So I was wondering, if such small situation made me feel this way, how can I stop taking things so personally so I don't get offended by such small things? And I think I came upon a realization that managing my expectations and assumptions is the way to resolve this. For example, if I assume that she did not mean anything harmful, like she did not do deliberately. Maybe she was just lost, or maybe it was her first time boarding the plane, so she did not know the way how to do it properly. Maybe she didn't know where the queue ends, so she just was, super worried about missing the plane, so she just cuts in line, and she didn't think much about invading other people's spaces. She just wanted to board the plane, and she did not mean anything harmful. And if I approach this situation with this assumption, it makes me feel much more lenient. When we assume that people do things unconsciously, not deliberately, then we kind of feel more lenient and condescending towards this whole situation. When you don't expect much from other people, you don't get offended by their actions. As an example, when you see a child in a restaurant who is misbehaving, screaming, running around, you may get annoyed, but usually you assume that the child is just a kid. He does not know how to behave properly in this particular situation, in this particular space. Maybe he does not feel the boundaries yet. So because he's a child, you're being much more lenient and understanding toward the child, right? Because you don't judge the child immediately. But we expect different things from adults. We expect them to behave properly in our understanding of what's being proper mean. Because proper, or like morally correct, is different for other people. Like for each person individually is different because we come from different backgrounds. So by making an assumption that this person does it undeliberately, or he or she acts based on their understanding of how to act in a particular situation, you are becoming more lenient. And coming back to my boarding case, I thought, well, maybe she was just, she rushed on the plane. She was just worried to miss the plane. And then my judgment and my anger just disappeared. So by changing and managing our expectations and assumptions on how people should behave in the world, we are able to control our emotions and we're able to feel differently. Do not take things personally. Do not get offended by such small things. Although sometimes people really deliberately take advantage of you and they want to offend you. Like, but in this case, still, you can think maybe this person acts out of anger and he doesn't know what he's doing. So you lower your expectations regardless of whether the action was done deliberately on purpose or not. You still make an assumption in your head that it was done unconsciously. Like, this person didn't want to hurt me, he didn't want to invade my space, he was worried about something, you know, and that's why he acted this way. Or maybe he was brought up in a different culture and that's why he acted this way. By thinking this way, you don't get angry. You're just like, it's all right. And you become lenient and condescending in a good way, not from arrogance, but, just more understanding and compassionate. And then you feel better. That's what I think about this. I hope I made it all clear. And that's all for today. If you have anything to add, you can always write comments down below. Yeah, thanks.